What's good, YouTube? We're back again, this time with another technical analysis video. We're going to be doing a video on the best strategy, in my opinion. Completely free example right here, using the EMA, the stoch RSI, and the DMI. The two most important ones are the EMA and the stoch RSI. When it comes to the EMA, it's the 34 and 50 EMA and the 5 and 12 EMA. Okay, you're wondering what are the EMAs. As you can see right here on the platform, you have the 50, the 34, the 5, and the 12 EMA, where I'm putting the cursor at. Each color, you can put it the color you want, represents which is the actual EMA. Today we're going to be using ticker symbol AMC, the popular one. Now when it comes to this one right here, I made a 9.49% gain right there, so that's a great trade. I did it late. I started trading late today, so this is the example I want to talk about. If you notice what is actually happening, the EMAs are trending upwards. The EMAs are acting as support. Don't use trend lines. There's no point in using trend lines, in my opinion, for this strategy. Stick to the strategy. If you want to talk about something else, do something else. For this strategy, don't use trend lines. EMAs are much more reliable and efficient than your own drawn trend lines, because you can have inaccurate trend lines because they're yours. You drew them yourself. When it comes to this right here, the EMA is the actual moving average period for the candles. So that's as precise as it can get for a support or resistance. That's why when you see these candles over the EMAs, it's because it's acting as support, and as you can see, it's carrying the candles. So if it's carrying the candles upwards, it means the EMAs are very accurate at using it as resistance, as support in this case, using it as support to carry the candles. In this case, it's the 5 and 12 EMA. So you see EMA 5 is light blue. The candles are over it. Even this red candle, when it drops, still holding the 5 EMA, so it holds it as support. It is, whenever it drops lower towards the 12 EMA, you see it still holds it as support. So it's a straight continuation. The 5 and 12 EMA combination uses as support to carry the candles. So whenever the 5 is over the 12, you can tell that it's actually using it as support. So there's where you see this cross right here, and it's still holding, and it's holding, and it's holding as support. So that's why you see these candles be carried. Now the 34 and 50 EMA are the more important foundation support. I like to call it that because the 5 and 12 more so carries the candles. 34 and EMA is where there's going to be foundational support or resistance. In this case, it's support. Why? Because as you see, it didn't go below it. And the 34 and 50 EMA didn't cross downward. They have been tamed upward. Why? Because the 34 is over the 50. And whenever it's like that and the candles keep holding support around this area, it means it's going to be going upwards. Okay? So that is very important. It never lost support right there. So it keeps holding it. 34 and 50 EMA and the 5 and 12 EMA carries the candles upwards. Now you're asking yourself, when is a good entry? Maybe, how do I explain it? Now, personally, for me, a good entry, and I'm speaking all of this, sharing my experience. This isn't meant to be something for you to be successful, to be honest. This is me sharing what I'm succeeding with. That is the exactly correct way to put it. This is me sharing what I'm succeeding with. So when it comes to this, if you notice something, the stoch RSI has gone completely down over here. And yet, the candles are completely over the 34 and 50 EMA and completely over the 5 and 12, using it as support is what I'm trying to say. So what does that mean? That it's very likely to, if the stoch RSI goes up, that it's going to continue to go up the candles because over this region, because it's already used in this area as support with the stoch RSI already low on the time frame we're looking at, which is the 5-minute. So that is very important. Not only that, I haven't spoken about the DMI. Throughout this entire movement, the DMI was in full control for bulls. Why? Because the DI plus is for bulls, DI minus is for bears. Bulls being upward movement, bears being downward movement. So in this case, DI plus is at 31 at this point, and at this point 27. Whenever it's over 25, it's very strong. Not only that, the ADX determines the strength of the DI plus or the DI minus, whichever one is in control. If none of them are over 25, that means the DI plus and the DI minus are not in control. And that's when you see choppy action, no upward movement or downward movement. Since the DI plus is in control at 27, DI minus is only at 9. Complete control, you see there's upward movement. So you know, okay, this is a strong trend. So I can enter this trend. And at the same time, the ADX is showing how strong it is. It's at 47, 48, 43. That means it's very strong DI plus, which is upward movement. So that's when you know it's a good entry. And at the same time, for an even more perfect entry, if the DI plus and DI and ADX are still in control and the stock RSI has gone down completely and it's still with the candles over the EMAs, that is as perfect as an entry as I can get, because then I can benefit from the upward movement completely. So I actually entered around 1140 around this region, somewhere around this region. So I saw this continuation, this very strong ADX and DI plus, and the day has still started. So I know this is going to be a very strong trend. So this is what people make a mistake. They look more at volume than EMAs and DMI. Volume alone in itself is not as accurate. If you add these, it's more accurate, especially for actual scalping and trading. So when it comes to this, I entered around here, right? We had some upward movement. I didn't secure any gains yet. Then we had this downward movement. I'm still in the trade. Why? Because it held completely over these EMAs while the stock RSI is completely low already. And the DI plus is still completely in control with the ADX. Then I benefited from all of this. So I put this arrow up here because around this region was when I secured. So I secured gains right there, 9.49%. So this is as great of an example as you can get right there, free, entirely free. Showing DI plus strength completely at 44.68 ADX. That is strong. If you short at that region, you're just asking to lose, literally, because completely against you, the DI plus and the ADX showing the strength, how against you it is. So be in favor, be at the actual trend, don't be against it in that region. So that's the example right there, right? Stock RSI then comes up, and that's how you get this beneficial upward movement right here. Free, zero charge. Shout out to all those people who deliver free, zero charge content, because too many scammers out here charging $250 per month. It's tough.